So I think it really does dial back down to what kind of a person are you, what kind of a business person are you, and what are your goals?
So let me bring it more specific because I don't know plumbing. With what I do specifically, I think that I've shifted from a mentality where, as a massage therapist, I work on everybody, to deciding that yes, though in fact I can work on everybody, my niche is chronic pain. Athletes, yoga instructors, people who are into their bodies and need really high-end body work, or again, chronic pain. You already know some of the social media that I'm using. Like, just to give an example to see like how you look at it from the outside, what do I use to try to draw in people who have, let's say, carpal tunnel? Because people would ask me on the entrepreneurs group once, they're like, well, I was asking them, because the massage therapists are always like, I work on everybody. And I'm like, dude, you got to specify. And they're like, well, what's your target market? They'd ask me. And I'm like, men in the tech industry who make over $100,000 a year who have carpal tunnel. And they were like, whoa.
Yeah. And
like,
I might even push it further and say, you know, is it that person who's already tried 3 or 4 things and hasn't been able to release it?
Sometimes, yes.
You know, and so it becomes then, okay, well, if that's who I'm trying to reach and what I'm trying to do with them is get them to try my method of fixing that, then where do I go to get in front of them, and be visible? And then how do I build credibility with them? So I might do some, I might do some videos that show some various techniques of things that they can kind of do on their own and say, and then
or
say,
in the process.
Or in the process, and then I might say, and if you want to accelerate this process, or you want somebody who really knows and can watch to see that you're doing it properly and effectively, that's who my customer is, and come talk to me. And so, and then how do you get in front of those people? Well, it might be really guerrilla grassroots stuff where you get in and start talking to like the health and wellness committees at some of these tech companies and seeing if you could come in and do demonstrations, or do they have health fairs at the offices where you might come in contact with those kinds of people. If you had some marketing money to throw at it, might look at some really targeted, retargeting display ads or video type of ads.
The first thing I think of, and I'll quickly go around this and you'll see why, is I run a Facebook ad, because Facebook has already collated the data. The Facebook ad would have a video, and the Facebook ad would, be specifically about carpal tunnel. Because I can choose the range, I can choose the amount I'm willing to spend on it, and I can see, well, what's my conversion rate? Because if I spend $100 on an ad, but I get a client that pays me $240, I came out on the profit end.
And you have to know those numbers. Conversely, like, you and I don't know each other very well, so I am sitting here making a bunch of assumptions about where your business is and how much money you have based on the setting that we're sitting in here. Somebody who has a practice with, 12 therapists and they're making, a decent amount of income already and they have more to invest, I might suggest that in addition to Facebook, you do this, 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 and this. That may include some radio and TV on some targeted programming that hits generally wide net, men, 35 to 64, making 100,000 plus. Like, that's the thing I keep throwing that term around, terrestrial media. What I really mean is sort of like the big stuff, like, TV, radio, billboards, all this kind of stuff. It's very expensive to do. And so from an entrepreneurial standpoint, depending on how big or small you are, you may never get to those kinds of things, right? But those are big, wide net mediums. It's generally I can take a look at a station or a medium and go, I want to throw a big wide net over that group, and I'm going to get part of who I'm trying to reach.
Yeah.
I'm also going to get a bunch of waste too, but it's a way for me to really make loud what I'm trying to do. Digital is much different, and it took me a long time, and it's taking media a long time to sort of go through that paradigm shift and how to sell large, wide net media versus digital. A lot of people struggle with it because in the digital space, you're really talking to one person. You're not casting a wide net and hoping to catch as many of the people in your deal. You are specifically targeting one person and trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
And then it's about getting into that person's mind and how they might be utilizing the medium to figure out how to best capture them and their attention and talk to them and build credibility. And so you really have to understand the broad strokes, or you have to be able to talk to people who do, so you can start to understand, again, go back. It's pretty simple stuff. Who am I trying to reach?
Yep.
What am I trying to get them to do?
And
then the third question that I would throw in there is, and what are your resources to do that?
Then beyond that, what happens is massage therapists are sometimes confused at my marketing because my practice is not full. In other words, I'm not booked out 2 months in advance. Even if I was, I would be unable to focus on classes and focus on retail, and focus on digital marketing. And those three are actually more lucrative than just seeing the individual client. So what's happened is, I've got enough individual clients that things are fine. And then my classes are growing, and retail is growing, and the digital marketing is growing. And I'm looking at those channels, which means I run the Massage Entrepreneurs Group. I'm talking to other massage therapists who are likely, or more likely, to become students in what I'm teaching as Reboot. And here's the thing. If I went into the massage community and said, here's a video technique, here's a video technique, here's a video, that's fine. But it gets to a point where they feel like I'm selling what I'm doing. Whereas, if I have the Massage Entrepreneurs Group and I float a video talking about business where you and I are exploring this, those massage therapists who are interested in entrepreneurship, who are interested in innovation, who are interested in new ideas, then go, man, I got to download this free workbook. And then when they're on my email list and when they see everything else, they get a bigger sense long term. Because you are my target market. Because I'm trying to get other massage therapists now.
Yeah.
I'm not just trying to get the public. And the thing is, it feels weird because I could have waited until my practice was totally full of people like you and then went into teaching. But I realized very quickly that the work I was doing was so radically different that it was never going to expand unless I could get other therapists to buy into my brand and start doing sessions similarly to how I'm doing them.
But what you're talking, you're passionate about this, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like a lot of work either. And you know what I keep thinking of throughout the conversation is, when it comes to, again, how much can you or do you want to grow? It comes to passive income at some point. If you are only going to do massage and that's what you're passionate about, you can fill your calendar as much as you can fill it, and there's a capacity to that.
Yeah.
And so then from an earning standpoint, once you've filled your calendar, then you need to start increasing your rate to make more money. And at some point, you probably outprice yourself out of the market if you want to continue to grow, and that's all you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So people who want to grow beyond that have to be creative and innovative about other ways that they can make money doing what it is they're passionate about and enjoy. So you talked about retail, you talked about classes, but you're really pushing really uncomfortable boundaries for a lot of people in your industry because they don't understand why you would be so interested in creating videos and building a video tribe. Well, you're doing that because it's creating content that can become passive income for you at some point. You're eventually going to have amassed all of this content and all of this knowledge. And you are, because again, we are all individuals made up of our own truths, which are all of the different stimuli and messages we've received to this very point in time. You're the only one that sees it the way you see it. No other person on the planet sees it the way you do. And so it's all about taking all of this information that you've gone through the time to amass. You and I are having I'm learning a ton from you. You're, I assume, learning some stuff that you didn't know from me. And you're going to combine that with all of the other information, and then you're going to spit this content out through your lenses that is completely unique to you. And if you can aggregate that in a way that people are interested in it, and it takes you being present out of the equation, then all of a sudden that information starts to become passive income, and it's making money at 3 a.m. while you're sleeping.
And that concept is completely unknown to massage therapists. I went from poverty to relative affluence. Like, we're working on that still. But here's the thing. When I talked to therapists, I realized, if I had a training curriculum for Reboot that was like 10 classes long, and it's $10,000 or whatever, most massage therapists, if I said, hey, it's $10,000, they go, no, absolutely not. But here's the thing. If you're a massage therapist in the Midwest and you're making $30,000 a year, and I say, listen, if you study with me and do what I'm going to have you do, I think I can help raise your income to $60,000 in the first year. Or if you keep working with me for 2 to 5 years, I might be able to get your income to where you're making 6 figures a year. Those are big claims, and I absolutely think it's possible because of what I've done. But here's the thing. I'm going a step further, because I'm not just teaching the massage therapist the body work, I'm teaching them the business, and I'm teaching them the marketing, and I'm actually going in and teaching them some of the social media. The students in my class, I just finished a phase 1 class, which is after you take the little intro, it's the first real class where I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And the students are just going, what the hell is, like, because I'm stepping so far out of the boxes that they're going, what the, like, this isn't even massage anymore. And I'm like, exactly, it's a reboot. That's why I changed the name. That's why I'm branding what I do. But it's teaching them the components of the business and the social media, because one of the things I realized was my industry specifically is very personal. I think that massage therapists are really missing out because they're not using social media to the degree that they could to increase personality and increase personal connection.
Well, in which you're all of that is brand.
Exactly. And the thing is, and that's what I mean, but they're when they're like, no, but brand is Coke.
No.
Brand is Apple. And I'm like, no, it's you as a brand.
All have a personal brand.
Exactly. And the thing is, it gets to this point where they feel like their entire life is being subsumed in business. And I try to explain to them, my social media is personal. I'm on every channel I can find. I'm getting ready to start using like beta apps because I'm looking for more. The thing is, all of my social media is business. And they're very confused when I say that, because what Mark Zuckerberg has done with Facebook, and that's the most common example. Mark Zuckerberg is a genius who figured out how to create a platform that other people look at as it's not a business. It's like, oh, it's how I get photos of my grandkids. It's like, no, it's how Mark Zuckerberg is making money from advertisers who want to sell you a world's greatest grandma t-shirt. It's brilliant because it just sits in the background.
Well, and there's that Facebook has evolved and continues to evolve, right? And there's all these competitive things coming in against it, and it's about the life of a product cycle too, and when do you reinvent yourself, and when do you innovate and be, morph and evolve, right? So you can continue to push those boundaries. But I also will go back, I'll go back to Dave Ramsey as a good example of this, in talking about sort of, the basics versus sort of this long-term vision. He put out the Total Money Makeover, and so he is tapping into a need that people find themselves having of wanting to get out of debt.
Yep.
Okay? So you can go buy the 20. First of all, you can tune into his radio show. You can go to his social media platforms. There's a whole bunch.
I follow Dave extensively.
There's a whole bunch of places that you can go get Dave's content for free. Yep. You don't even have to buy it. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Total Money Makeover costs $29.95 or whatever it costs now, right? That's just the aggregate of all of that content in one space.
Yep.
I will tell you, if you read The Total Money Makeover and then you listen to Dave Ramsey's radio show for 2 weeks, you will have learned everything that's in that book on the radio show for free.
Exactly.
But I now have it. It's all pieced together in a linear, coherent fashion where I can sort of wrap my brain around the aggregate of the information and start putting it into action, right? Now, Dave Ramsey also goes out on tour and does the Total Money Makeover show.
EntreLeadership.
Well, no, I'm not even there yet. I'm just talking about the Total Money Makeover show, which is a tour that he's just gone, I'm going to make this idea of a stuffy seminar in a hotel conference room, and I'm going to put it on a stage with production and comedy and I'm going to come out and be with personality, and we're going to put the show on now. And guess what? The show runs, another $30 to $170, depending on whether you want to be VIP or have lunch with Dave or meet Dave or whatever. And so now I've taken somebody who can get the same information I'm giving. By the way, at the show in the arena, it's the same information you can get for $29.95 in the book or for free over here. Yeah. It's just packaged differently, and the price has gone up now depending on what type of experience you want.
Yep.
And it's the same stuff, right? And then he's gone, okay, well, I built this. Oh, and then there's all these other things. Now I've got, my pouches that you can buy, and you can get the audio version. You can buy it for other people. Now there's all these other different avenues. How do I teach kids about money? And then he got to a point where he said, well, I've created this empire on the Total Money Makeover, and this simple information that now I've created $1 billion company out of, right? And people start coming to him going, how did you do that? And he started thinking about it, and he started thinking, well, I could just hoard this information about how I did it, or I could start talking about it. And that's what he started doing. And then guess what he did? He wrote a book about it called EntreLeadership. And then he went on tour with EntreLeadership, and EntreLeadership became its own subset.
Yep.
That is now its own $1 billion, empire.
There's a corollary to me, because when Gary Vee talks about document, don't create, what I'm doing is documenting the process of trying to figure out the business.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when massage therapists follow along, they consider me an authority, but it's Dave having those conversations with millionaires and going, how did they do it? And he goes, well, they're married. That's one of the categories I see consistently. He's like, 2, they don't live off credit cards, or they don't live in debt, or, whatever. Those sorts of things are what really intrigued me, because, again, you drove home, and this is the thing, because I struggle with this. I make videos. If I give away everything I do for free, I'm teaching you in video format. There's 160 or so videos on my channel probably by the time this comes out, or more. The thing is, I'm teaching you for free what I do. It's in pieces. You're never going to sit through all the YouTube ads to see it all, but that information is all there. But here's the thing, if I package this information in a different way in a DVD, people will buy it.
Yeah.
But what does that say about information and information's value in the digital age?
Well, in the digital age, I mean, I struggle a lot. I really, one of my favorite sayings, and it really came out of my years as a promotions director, like if somebody stole my promotions idea
they stole!
I always say, if you've stolen from me, you've stolen twice. Like, I don't have a lot of original ideas.
Nope.
I just basically look at what other people have been successful doing, and I try to sort of mishmash it to make it work for whatever we're trying to do. And so in the digital age, what it's done is it's confused things like plagiarism. Plagiarism becomes, and again, plagiarism is a social construction, right? Like everything's a lie. Okay, so all of this stuff is...
The only real IP that I've had to deal with is related to Time Massage Jam. And there were some students in a state I will not mention who basically took the idea and ran off with it. But here was the problem. They were still calling it Time Massage Jam.
Yeah.
And I had to file a trademark for that to say no. Like the idea can't be controlled.
Well,
I might have stumbled into something new, but the idea isn't what I control.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's the name, and the name is mine. And here's the thing: if you want to use my name, you need to go through the legal channels to do that certification track with me. Now, if you want to run off and run a similar event and you want to compete with me, you're still going to lose because my marketing is better and I'm going to work 3 times as hard at it. But that's IP.
Well, and I will also say that because I have this conversation with people all the time. I work with a lot of business coaches and inspirational speakers and that sort of thing. I mean, that's what I do. So I run in those circles naturally. It's my tribe, right? And because I'm smart, I'm trying to learn from all of these other people that do it better than I am. But I constantly run into this, like, people getting all protective about the actual content. And my response to that is always the same. Is anybody going to deliver your content as well as you are?
Someone I talked to, another massage therapist, because I shoot videos like this, I had mentioned to her, hey, you should get together with me and shoot some YouTube videos. I have equipment. And she requested that she wanted a copy of the raw footage. And I was like, what? Why?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I want to control my image on social media. And I'm like, if you want to control your image on social media, don't make videos with me.
Listen, control is an illusion.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's like just the annoyance of having to like do one extra step. I was like, I'll go make videos of somebody else. It doesn't matter.
No, I mean, that is what I'm talking about. And again, if I go back to positive energy versus negative energy, it's, control is often present in the lower, more catabolic levels of energy. Victim mentality, conflict mentality. I'm trying to control, I'm trying to control everything, all of the different pieces, micromanage everything, right? That never really works. I mean, and that's not just me saying it doesn't work. Like, you can look at the data. It doesn't lead to good things.
I know. Okay, so in my industry, people will look at this initially. They will look at it and say, with what I'm doing, they're like, this can't be real. But here's the thing. The reason I had to protect components of what I was doing and form a new brand under Reboot and form a new brand under Time Massage Jam was because I could go in and deliver the Moby Dick of bodywork. Mm-hmm. And it was 1,000+ pages. I'd give students the first 10 pages, totally open-hearted. And they would assume, well, this is what he does. And I'm like, no, this is, like, you work on a table. You work on naked people with Cream and Glide. I work on a mat, mobilizing people, doing things that look like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, using the deepest compressions imaginable, and all of my knowledge about anatomy and physiology and all of my internal experience about chronic pain management. I can't teach that in 3 days. The students, though, they're so blown away because I come in and basically I push their industry over. I come in and push the table over. The reason the students in that state started running the Time Massage Jam was because they literally were going, listen, we understand kind of what you're trying to teach, but how do we sell this? And I said, oh, well, you run a Time Massage Jam. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, well, you get people together and you give a little bit away for free and you work with people and show them how to do it. That is completely revolutionary in my industry. And I understand why people, freak out about it. But the thing is, they still have only gotten the first 10 pages. And that's what's so difficult because I'm like, listen, You take 500 hours of training and go over $10,000 in debt to get through high school, which is massage school. And then, you expect me to teach you what I do in 3 days because you already know this. And I'm like, this is shit. This is this is the bare minimum. And when I say it's shit, what I mean is you're primarily from this, you're going to use the anatomy and physiology and you're going to get rid of the rest. And they're irritated by that, but I'm like, listen, come get a session, because when I gave, not somebody from the public, I expect you to freak out. I decided to rebrand whenever massage therapists who'd had Thai massage freaked out and were like, what the hell did you just do? And I'm like, whoa, are you okay? And they're like, no, I feel fucking amazing. I don't understand what you just did. It was 3 hours long. I've never heard of a 3-hour massage, and you were standing on me at times. And I'm like, okay. And that's where I got to this point. Like, so it's like, you control.
Well,
and I'm like, no.
but again, so, what we're talking about again is moving to the more anabolic, positive stages of energy. And when you're in those stages of energy, you are much more non-judgmental. You are much more open-minded. All you see is opportunity, right? And so you are open to going through the 3 hours, but beyond that, you are all of a sudden jazzed up and interested, and you want to know what it is that you did, and you're willing to do that with time and expense. You're willing to invest in the time and expense. We live in this immediate, I get an email, I'm expected to respond in 3 minutes or less kind of environment now. And that's what the digital age has done to us. And it's brought many, many wonderful things to us. It's also done such really horrible stuff to us, right? It's made us impatient. And so the people I would submit to you that the people who are angry after, they want the quick fix. They want to be able to know what you know like that.
The thing is,
that's not possible.
I don't know what this is called. There's got to be a name for this, because I noticed after this last phase class, which is the follow-up to the intro, the students were processing the information faster than everyone else. I teach classes where I've come into a massage therapist and pushed the table over. I've gotten rid of the cream. I've gotten rid of the nudity. They're on a mat for the first time. And they're just going, well, what the hell is this? Like, they're in class going through, and they're doing fine. But they're like, and I'm like, yes, I'm selling a different box. You don't realize it because you're not open enough to see what's going on yet. They've not been watching all my videos, listening to me, talking to me about what I'm doing. They're just taking a little Thai massage class. So what happens is, for some reason, like in my marketing situation, in my business situation, there wasn't even a culture for mat work. I had to slowly create a culture for mat work so I could push people into what I was doing, which is Reboot and that Reboot certification. Once I got the students on the mat, I don't know why, but it just seemed like the students in phase 1, this last class, they were able to pick it up faster. And the students in class would comment, they're like, oh, you're not like teaching us like one specific way of working. And I'm like, no. Like, if you're a plumber and there's a plumbing issue, depending on the situation with the pipes in the house, you might have to use different tools or a different way. Like, if you try to use the same way every time, it's not going to work. You just have to figure it out. And that's where the massage therapists get confused, because they want a protocol. Here's the 10 steps you always do, and it works in every situation.
I mean, but innovation happens when we challenge what we know. Okay,
dude,
let's say that again. Let's say that again, because I think an important thing. Innovation happens when you challenge what you think you already know how to do. Okay, it's finding something more efficient, different. That doesn't, you're going to fail a bunch.
In my industry, they will say it's impossible.
It's not impossible.
Nope. In our industry, it's impossible. Now, granted, I agree with you, But see, that's the thing. They don't think it's possible, and I'm like, I've done it. Like, I'm living it every day.
I mean, 1,009 people told the Colonel Sanders that it wasn't possible to open up a chicken restaurant.